lahat ng tawanan, lahat ng iyong all-time hits. Ang tanging huntahan ng Masang Lamaw. Number 1 sa Mega Manila, nationwide pa. Broadcasting from TGON, TVH Group of Networks. Dito lang sa inyong iisang himpilan. Kool FM. You are listening to Kool FM. Live from Kool Studios. This is koolNews at noon.
Hello.
Yes, it's working. It's working.
All right. Kool FM. Kool FM at noon will return. We'll start for a few moments. It is now 12:02 p.m. Philippine Standard Time. Stick with us. Oh yeah. All right. So it is now 12:03 p.m. Philippine Standard Time. Oh, I did group out. This is koolNews at noon, reporting from the nation's capital. I'm Stephen Lewanagdilsol, remotely here in Manila. The House of Representatives opened its third and final regular session on Monday ahead of its President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. State of the Nation address. The House session started at 10 a.m. and adjourned after it sent the recent invitations for a joint session during Marcos' third SONA. Speaker Ferdinand Martin Romualdez presided over the session. Despite completing most of the priority bills set by the Legislative Executive Development Advisory Council, or LEDAC, the House resumes its session with several important bills awaiting action. Last June 25, Romualdez said they would act on the 3 remaining LEDAC bills that the House has not passed on the third reading. These are the proposed amendments to the Foreign Investors Long-Term Lease Act, the Agrarian Reform Law for committee deliberations, and the proposed amendments to the Electric Power Industry Reform Act, or EPIRA, under technical working group or committee deliberations. Speaker Martin Romualdez also previously said the House will focus on approving the 2024 national budget. Earlier on Monday, the Office of the Speaker of the House of Representatives released videos of Romualdez saying the lower chamber is 100% ready for the SONA this Monday afternoon. President Marcos Jr. is set to deliver his SONA at the Batasang Pambansa. The Speaker said, "We are 100% complete. All systems are go. We have this grand stage for another historic presidential address. We are ready to hear and appreciate the accomplishments of the Marcos administration. It fills me with immense pride to recognize the significant role that the House of Representatives has played in crafting legislation and policies that promote the welfare of all Filipinos. We are excited for the President's SONA because we know he has many positive developments to share with the nation," he said. Meanwhile, the third regular session of the 19th Congress officially opened on Monday, hours before President Marcos delivered his third State of the Nation address. At the upper chamber's plenary hall, Senator Chis Escudero banged the gavel for a few minutes past 10 a.m., ceremoniously marking the opening of the session. All 23 senators were present at the hall when the session was officially opened. To recall Sonny Ongara has formally resigned from his post as a senator to be the country's education secretary. Later in the afternoon, the senators and their counterparts in the House of Representatives will convene in a joint session at the Patasang Pabansa complex in Quezon City to hear Marcos deliver his SONA. Earlier, Escudero said the chamber would focus on passing priority measures that would address the country's economic woes. Escudero previously said in a statement, "We will focus on what was agreed upon during the recent Legislative Executive Development Advisory Council meeting under the Common Legislative Agenda. Among these bills include amendments to the Electric Power Industry Reform Act, corporate recovery and tax incentives for enterprises, maximize opportunities for reinvigorating the economy or create more bill, and amendments to the Foreign Investors Long-Term Lease Act." Earlier, the Legislative Executive Development Advisory Council, chaired by the President, enumerated priority bills for passage by June 2025 as follows: reforms to the Philippine Capital Markets, Archipelagic Sea Lanes Act, amendments to the Right-of-Way Act, excise tax on single-use plastics, rationalization of the mining fiscal regime, Department of Water Resources, amendments to the rice tarification law, Anti-Agricultural Economic Sabotage Act, amendments to the Government Procurement Reform Act, Anti-Financial Accounts Scamming Act, Self-Reliance Defense Posture Revitalization Act, Philippine Maritime Zones Act, Academic Recovery and Accessible Learning Program Act, VAT on Digital Services, New Government Auditing Code, Blue Economy Act, Enterprise-Based Education and Training Framework Act, amendments to the Universal Healthcare Act, Open Access in Data Transmission Act, Waste to Energy Bill, Mandatory Reserve Officers Training Corps, or the ROTC, Unified System of Separation, Retirement and Pension of Military and Uniformed Personnel, E-Government Act or E-Governance Act, amendments to the Agrarian Reform Law, and the Philippine Immigration Act. According to Escudero, the Senate will hold legislative sessions on Thursdays to boost the number of senators' working days and hasten the passage of measures. He said, "We will set aside an extra day, Thursday, to discuss these measures. Approve these as far as we can because we only have about 70 days left before this Congress ends. 70 session days absent any typhoons, calamities that might cause us to declare suspension of session or work." World Championships of Performing Arts 2024 gold medalist Blessy Abagat will sing the national anthem on Monday at the third State of the Nation address of Presidential Ferdinand Marcos Jr., according to the Presidential Communications Office. Abagat hails from Bicol and was a multi-awardee in WCOPA 2024. The PCO said in a statement late Sunday night, "This is not just a statement to Blessy's vocal skills, but also a celebration of her recent achievements on the global stage. Her upcoming vocal performance at the third son of the President Marcos Jr. not only highlights her individual achievements, but also represents the collective aspirations and pride of her fellow Filipinos." The PCO said Abagat's awards in the WCOPA include the 2024 Division Champion Vocal Pop, semifinal silver medalist for Vocal Gospel, and 3 gold medals for Vocal Gospel, Vocal Contemporary, Vocal Pop, along with silver medal, Vocal Broadway. Marcos is set to deliver his SONA at Patasang Pabansa complex in Quezon City on Monday afternoon. It will be directed by state-owned radio television Malacanang. A total of 20 million pesos, meanwhile, was set as the budget for this year's SONA. Protesters burned an effigy of the President Marcos Jr. and Vice President Sara Duterte to mark the conclusion of their People's SONA held at Commonwealth Avenue in Quezon City. Demonstrators from Bayan, Southern Tagalog, and other organizations gathered early along Commonwealth Avenue hours before Marcos delivered his third SONA at the Patasang Pabansa. Bayan ST leaders raised issues concerning Southern Tagalog and assess the status of the country's economy, agriculture, and labor sectors, among others, in their People's SONA. Bayan spokesperson Kyle Salgado said, "Until now, social ills such as imperialism, feudalism, and bureaucrat capitalism have taken our country. This contradicts Marcos Jr.'s false promises since his inauguration 2 years ago. Marcos Jr. is clearly leaning on the U.S. faction while scared of China," said the imperialists and the communists Bayan ST burned Marcos in Duterte's effigy while it called Pida ng Paninigas, or a tear of rage, symbolizing the struggle of the Filipino people against the cycle of oppression and the culture of impunity, among others, to emphasize the demands. The effigy employs a visceral depiction of the relations of U.S. imperialism, Marcos Duterte administration, and the coercive forces of the armed forces of the Philippines and the Philippine National Police, Bayan ST explained in a statement. Bayan ST is expected to join a rally of other organizations under Bayan around 1 p.m. at the University of the Philippines, Diliman, Quezon City. In the other news, later at koolNews at noon, keep promises on rights, press freedom, Marcos urged. What's the plan to tame the price hikes for President Marcos? According to the Senate charter change, not in their priorities. President Joe Biden ends his re-election bid and endorses Kamala Harris for the 2024 U.S. elections. UB Pop Group believe not out to compete but to inspire. And FD's Film Development Council of the Philippines Chair Joey Reyes hopes for golden future for Philippine cinema and the arts. It is now 12:12 p.m. Philippine Standard Time. We will continue for the special coverage of SONA 2024 here on koolNews at noon. Welcome back. Conveners of the first Philippine Media Safety Summit called on President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. to take concrete steps to support a critical press, noting that he once said that this best serves the national interest. As he delivers his third State of the Nation address today, various media groups urged the president to prioritize legislative measures that would decriminalize libel and enact the Freedom of Information Law. The conveners representing various media groups said the president himself said in April the principal role of the press is not to applaud those who govern, but to hold us accountable, without holding back and giving praise to those who deserve it. Along with that stance is our collective goal of protecting the welfare and lives of journalists. The conveners representing various media groups said. They added, now it's the time for Marcos to keep his promise and include efforts to ensure a truly free and safe environment for all journalists in his zone of legislative priority. The conveners also urged the president to make a clear stand on red tagging after the Supreme Court issued a landmark ruling in May, declaring it a threat to people's life, liberty, and security. The media groups also pushed for the removal of a provision in the Comprehensive Dangerous Drugs Act of 2022 that includes journalists as a possible witness in drug cases. The group said for as long as this provision is not removed, journalists are at risk of being cited for contempt or subjected to arrest warrants for not showing up in courts as witnesses in drug cases. Several measures have been filed before Congress seeking to decriminalize libel, which has been weaponized against journalists and used as a tool to shield public officials against criticism and defamatory utterances. Oh my, wait, hold on. Yeah. While the previous administration of Rodrigo Duterte has issued an executive order on FOI, the directive only covers departments and offices under the executive branch. The media groups said a legislated FOI will promote transparency in government, adding that this also has the support of business groups. Meanwhile, the Commission on Human Rights has acknowledged the commitment of the Philippine National Police to uphold the right to peaceful assembly during the president's address today. This honor serves as a significant event for the government to state its accomplishments and plans, demonstrating its commitment to transparency, accountability, and the welfare of the nation. The CHR said. Sorry, it was so random. Meanwhile, the CHR expressed its appreciation for the PNP's pledge to adhere to Batasang Pambansa number 880, which ensures the citizens' right to peaceful assembly. Give me a moment. This is why it is frustrating to work remotely in rooms, especially in these open areas like this. Moving on. Okay. I'm kind of comfortable for this one. So the Senate is not keen on speeding up the proposed changes in the economic provision. The 1987 Constitution sessions resumed. Senate President Francis Escudero said on Sunday. Escudero clarified allow hearings on the proposed economic chacha through these will be done through the ordinary course under the auspices of the Senate Committee on Constitutional Amendment chaired by Senator Robin Hood Padilla. He said, my intention is to toss the matter back to the committee based on the ordinary regular procedures and according to the rules of the Senate, but it will not be priority in this third regular session of the 19th Congress by creating a special committee for such purpose. In a radio interview, Chief Escudero pointed out the subcommittee tasked to handle the proposed chacha is now without a chairperson after former Senator Sonny Angara officially resigned on July 18 to serve as the Education Secretary. The Marcos Cap. I'm sorry. Sorry. Okay. The Senate President said he is worried over the noise that may be creating to other more pressing matters. The 19th Congress has barely 70 session days left, so why do we still have to give ourselves a headache when we have other important measures to work on? He said. Many other more important matters are taken for granted because of the noise and chaos created by this very divisive issue. He said that neither Malacanang nor Speaker Martin Romualdez suggested that the Senate tackle the economic chapter proposal. Escudero laid out the 10 priority measures approved by the LEDAC that the Senate would work on when sessions resume on Monday. United States President Joe Biden said in a social media post that he is withdrawing from the re-election bid against Donald Trump. The announcement Sunday's throws turmoil into the presidential election. Biden's decision comes on the heels of poor debate performance that prompted many rank-and-file lawmakers to urge him to withdraw from the race. The president said he will address the American people later this week in more detail about the decision. In more detail about the decision lawmakers to step aside on his due to his poor health. Meanwhile, after wrapping the national convention with Milwaukee last week, Republican officials, strategists, and activists are exuding a confidence not seen in decades. Donald Trump on Saturday held his first public campaign rally since he was injured in an assassination attempt within an event in the battleground state of Michigan, but with President Joe ending his lead and endorsing Vice President Kamala Harris, Democrats now must navigate a shift that's unprecedented this late in an election year. Democrats are set to hold their convention in Chicago on August 19 to 22. What was supposed to be a coronation for Biden now becomes an open contest in which nearly 4,700 delegates will be responsible for picking a new standard bearer to challenge Republican Donald Trump. Even with Biden endorsing Harris, there are unanswered questions about logistics, money, and political fallout. The immediate burden is on Harris to solidify support among almost 4,000 delegates from the states, territories, and districts of Columbia, plus more than 700 so-called super delegates that include party leaders, certain elected officials, and former presidents and vice presidents. We go back shortly for the concerns on the soya. Making ends meet has not been easy in the past 12 months for Bianca Briones, a 20-year-old virtual assistant. She blames inflation. She said, I'm lucky enough to have someone help me pay the bills because we all know how high the prices of necessities can be these days. She is just one of the million Filipinos who will listen to President Marcos on the third Sona today. They'll hear the president speak of his accomplishments for sure, but amid the rise cost of living, the public would be more interested to know how he was the Filipinos' economic pain. In that, according to the 2024 Pulse Asia survey conducted last June, 76% of the Filipinos disapprove of how the administration is addressing inflation, while another poll conducted by the social weather stations in the same month shows that 58% or nearly 16 million Filipino families rate themselves as poor. Even the latest report of the National Nutrition Council says that 1 in 3 households still experience food insecurity or the fear of have nothing to eat. In the inflation hovered about the government's 2 to 4% target band for most part of the second half of 2023 before finally easing back to that range by the end of last year. But a flare-up is seen yet again this year due to high energy prices and the El Nino onslaught, although price growth have remained with the state's target range. In the first 6 months of 2024, inflation averaged 3.5%. For the entertainment news, because we are running out of time and have to depart early from this campus. My goodness. My apologies for the inconvenience. But here's some great news to wrap up this edition. Through its comeback single, Say What You Wanna Say, the newbie P-pop group Believe hopes to encourage listeners to have faith in themselves and the capabilities amid adversities. The member and rapper Zio told the Inquirer at the press conference, "It's a problem when there'll always be people pulling you down." When he signed the rap parts, he thought of making a strong statement that to motivate the people. He, he He also told at the press conference to keep pushing through, whatever the consequences. The boy band also composed of Yukito as the leader, J Mac as the lead dancer, Clyde as the main dancer, Carlo as the lead vocalist, Rafael as the main vocalist, and RC as the visual, who worked with composers Hazel Faith and Caleb Santos, who helped them put their own twist on the song. Yukito said it's a collaboration among the members and their songwriting producers. He also said that the song was written with Carlos anthem was hard pop, which as it is the job of all the stakeholders. What is more important now is to bring back the faith of the Filipino audience and quality and variety of Filipino pieces. Ray stressed that it is important to have the right films and art pieces to show in order to attract, first, the local audience and then the global ones. The CEO also explained development within the country rather than going global at all once. I've always felt that it is pointless to go to all these film festivals if we don't have the right films to show. Films with quality that will not just reflect the Filipino but the greater society. With the theme Art for All, a celebration of borderless artistic expression, the Ortigas Art Festival is putting the spotlight on more artists from all corners of the Philippines. This year, it presents a diverse lineup of creative disciplines for people of all ages, including visual arts, film, photography, and dance. The opening ceremony was attended by Ortigas Mall Vice President Rene Bacani, Angolan Vice Mayor Geraldo Calderon, Pasig Councilor Angelo De Leon, and other LGU members representing their respective jurisdictions. Also gracing the event were Ortigas Art Family creators and consultants Renato Habulan and Helen Mirasol. Dr. Dennis Sio Montera, the head of the National Commission for Culture and Arts, National Committee on Visual Arts, and the artist representing the Philippines at the 15th Guangzhou Biennale. The Ortigas Art Festival will run from July 18 to August 18 at the East Wing of Estancia Mall, Pasig City. It is now 12:30 p.m. Philippine Standard Time. We will return later for the special edition of koolNews together with all of us, the participating anchors uh, in the koolNews department. Once again, we will go for the special edition of the entire the special coverage of the State of the Nation address later at 3 p.m. Philippine Standard Time with yours truly, Stephen Warrington Sol, and other koolNews anchors. This has been koolNews Primetime. The music continues here on Kool FM. Have a safe afternoon at sana masarap ang kain ninyo. All right, take care.